he's in the hospital, so they're doing an MRI. So if he's out not in time, he's going to join.
That's
So
fine.
if he
Thank you.
doesn't join- Yeah. So yeah, he's gonna try to join though. That's why I haven't said anything
Good
yet. So,
evening.
good evening,
everyone. Welcome to our March 14th, 2023 Disabilities meeting. Please help me in stating the Pledge of Allegiance. I have the trusty little flag here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If I have a roll call of the members.
Certainly. Ralph DeChico.
Present.
And Pauline Perno is here. Mario Gramanis is
present.
Thank you. We've already had the update on Jason. Thank you for that, Mario. Robert Brown.
Nope.
Okay. Asma Al-Fouda.
Present.
There you go. Ellie Vargas. Ellie? Nope.
Yet. If she jumps in, I will let you know.
Okay. And how about Sophia Mahmouda, our student?
No, I haven't seen her yet. As soon as I see her coming in as an attendee, I will let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Item number 1 is a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the February 14, 2023 meeting. If there was no errors or anything, please let me know. And if I could just have a motion to approve along with a second.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Okay, so Mario, a motion to approve,
Yes.
and Asma seconded. I'm going to take something out of order. I'm going to skip over item number 2 right now and move over to item number 3. We have Claudia Correa, who's the Chief of the Talent and Culture for the City of Revere, who is our guest speaker for tonight. Thank you, Claudia, for joining us. I'm going to give you the floor.
Thank you, Ralph. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Claudia Correa. I am the Chief of Talent and Culture. First off, thank you so much for allowing me to be part of tonight's meeting. It's definitely very meaningful. So the Office of Talent and Culture was started about 2 years ago. But finally, it's getting up and running, meaning that we're fully staffed at this point. And right now, we'll be working and implementing some policies and changes around diversity, equity, and inclusion across the city, not just internally, but also externally. And that means not just within the workforce, but also with the stakeholders out in the community. The reason why I'm here today is because once again, Ralph has been kind enough to allow me to be here today, is because the main goal of the Talent and Culture is to package everything together, all the efforts that are being made by the city. And this means working with yourself, with the Disability Commissions, the Arts Commission, the Culture Commission. And the reason why I asked if I can join the meeting today is because I'm sure that you will aware of that in March is National Disabilities Month. And our goal is to make emphasis around these important dates and celebrations, and also teach people that diversity is not just based on race and the color of our skins or nationalities. We also have to talk about neurodiversity and how we need to start celebrating this. But why will be celebrating something if we have not been intentional around making sure how important this is? So Ralph and I have been having some conversations, and instead of having like a large celebration, I think we have to take some steps first and to make sure and evaluate how the city is making its best efforts to be as inclusive as possible. And that being said, Ralph and I will be doing a little tour of most of the city buildings to make sure that they are, or their list, they're trying to be in compliance with ADA regulations, especially that we're intentional about inviting people with disabilities to the building, not just to check a box, no, to be intentional about it. And what I mean by that is, for example, if we have an elevator on the basement that will give people access to the first, second, and third floor, fine, we're checking a box, we're in compliance, right? but are we really being intentional about letting people know that the elevator is there? I've seen people walking around looking for an elevator. Like, how intentional are we letting people know you're more than welcome to the building? And as soon as you walk in, you will know where to find an elevator. Things like that is that we will be working on as we celebrate and make emphasis around this important topic. So, like I said, Ralph talked to me about a project from back 2018 and how the study was put together around the things that the city needs to do in order to be in compliance. So we're going to revisit that to make sure that that is happening, that at least we have that in our plans, that departments are actually budgeting to making sure that we are doing our best efforts to let our residents with disabilities that they're welcome in our departments, that we are making it feasible for them to access city services. So that's what I'm here today, to learn your feedback, to learn from you, to see what kind of suggestions you have as we embark in this great project. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. I'll open it up to any of the commission members if you have any questions or any comments for Claudia. Or any feedback?
Sorry about that. Claudia, I really appreciated how you spoke and the emphasis on not just being compliant and being accessible, but making people aware, getting that word out. Because so many times we as internal folk may know that those things are there, that the elevator is there, or that the assistive devices are there, or the closed captioning is there. But unless that word gets spread, and it gets spread appropriately through the channels, the many channels that need to hear it, it really doesn't matter how accessible things are. And so I really do appreciate how it was worded and how you put it forth. It was, now we have to just brainstorm and see how we can tap into all these people in Revere that we want to get it out to.
All right, thank you, Pauline. Yeah, and even where we're meeting today via Zoom, as you know, one of the best things, or actually the few good things that came out of COVID was to have virtual meetings. People with disabilities have been asking for this for so many years, and even I hear some comments in City Hall, not in City Hall administration, but people that have these meetings. Oh, well, now everybody's back to normal. We don't need to do Zoom meetings. And I'll be like, no, time out. This is something that we have to make sure states to give people accessibility to these meetings. And like you say, Pauline, it's also letting people know about the meetings that you're hosting, the stuff that you're doing, and how we can work together to make sure that the residents know around the great work that you as a commission do. And also that we learn, we hear from people, what is it that that will make their lives easier as residents with the resources that we have. So to open up the conversations, to let people know that we're here and that we're intentional about it, not that we're just checking boxes.
Yeah. And to that point, Claudia, with the meetings, I'm sure you know that the state has already, I don't know if it's final voted, but it's voted to expand hybrid meetings to 2025, March of 2025. Everybody knows I'm one of the biggest proponents in the city to have hybrid meetings. What I ask everybody to do is contact your counselors. Let them know that we want this. It is a necessity for not only people with disabilities, people of different nationalities. It is such a convenience. And if they open up their eyes, there's more than just convenience. You can have specialists be able to come to these meetings, to these boards, to be able to give their insights and give their specialties on different things. You don't have to fly people in. You can have people from all over the world be coming to these meetings and give their expertise in things. Like you said, nothing really good came out of COVID, but that did. It showed that we can use technology and we need to embrace the technology.
All right, thank you, Ralph. Another thing that we wanted to share with you under the Office of Talent and Culture, our job is to work with city departments to push for diversity and inclusion and equity. And a couple of things that we were doing with human resources is making sure that our job descriptions are also welcoming, that we are using ADA appropriate language so people feel invited, not just about posting a job for those like, that have traditionally applied or gone and got, and taken, an opportunity to apply, but that we are intentional about letting people know that we are aware that there's people waiting, listening to us, and that we need to do our best efforts to get to those residents.
Anyone else have any other questions, comments, or concerns, feedback?
No, this is interesting stuff, and it is truth. Like with COVID, the virtual meetings. This is helpful to a lot of people. Especially that we can still have the meetings and do them virtually. So and then so yeah, this is true, and I think so. Thank you for making the speech.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Things. And like Ralph said, I'm glad that the state is moving on that direction. And I'm here to tell you that I'm not going to leave Ralph or any of you alone when you go in front of the city council. If this comes to a point where it needs to be approved by the city council, I'm here to provide you with my full support and whatever efforts need to be made to push for this to stay within City Hall.
Thank you, Claudia. I really appreciate that, because the more people we have on board, the better it is, and every voice counts. As we know with everything, when there's an initiative, the more people that speak in favor of something, the much easier it is to pass something and to get it done. And like you said, for diversity, there are people from different backgrounds and different ethnicities that don't like to be in a public forum for a meeting, but they want to become involved in the community, want to become involved in City Hall, and this opens up an avenue for them.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, I wanted to thank Claudia. Thank you so much, Claudia, for joining us today for the meeting. And thank you for providing the information about the talent and culture. I also announced last meeting that the talent and culture is welcome anyone that wanted to add the American Sign Language to the Disability Commission meeting to just like send us an email, and we will provide in that. So thank you also for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Asma. That was my next thing that I was going to talk about, that you brought that last meeting. On that, since Claudia mentioned that March is Disabilities Month, on a sad note, the disability community had lost a big advocate. They lost Judy Harmon. She was a great leader in fighting for disability rights for people. She won fight after fight. She was very instrumental in developing and implementing national disability rights legislation, including Section 504, the Individual with Disabilities Education Act, the Americans with Disabilities Act, which is the ADA, the Rehabilitation Act, the UN Conservation on Rights for Persons with Disabilities. In addition, she helped found the Barclay Center of Independent Living, the Independent Living Movement, the World Institute on Disabilities, along with many boards. In 1993, a lot of people may not remember, she moved to Washington, D.C. to serve as the first Assistant Secretary of the Office of Special Education and Rehabilitation. And during the Obama administration, she was appointed as Washington, D.C.'s first director for the development of disability services. So this was it's kind of sad and ironic that she died on March 4th at 75 years old in March, which is which is month for disabilities. So the disability community had lost a big advocate. So she'll be greatly missed.
Wow. Thank you for sharing, Ralph.
But once again, Claudia, I really thank you for coming, and anything that we can do to help, like we have, like you mentioned, I had received a grant in 2017-18 to have a company come in and do a transition and self-evaluation plan of all the municipal buildings, which tells, what each building could need and do. So we have that on file, and we can go through and take a look at all that. It's a very elaborate document that shows, what could be done, but at least we have that set in stone. We have all the documentation for that. So that is a great starting point for that.
Great, thank you, Ralph. No, thank you for having me. And like I said, I look forward to continue to be part of this important conversation. Like I said, this is March, and we're this is part of how we do the celebration around it. But we have to be mindful that this is only the beginning as to how I can support you moving forward, and how we can continue to reach out to seniors with disabilities, young adults with disabilities, how we can work with the school, and how we can make sure that we are as inclusive as possible. So there is definitely some work ahead, and I can only offer you my support. So my commitment to you is to definitely any work that I will do under talent and culture. I will obviously keep you posted so you know what is happening, and I'll be seeking your advice and leadership based on your knowledge. But thank you so much, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you again, Claudia. Please feel free to stay on if you want, or you can sign off. I just got a few more things that I'm going to go through, but you're more than welcome to stay.
Sure, I definitely will stay for a couple more minutes, and
Okay.
yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you. At this point, I'm just going to go back to item number 2, which is the updates and next steps from our February meeting. I'm just going to ask Pauline any updates regarding the calendar for monthly future guest speakers, and any follow-up updates
Excuse me.
regarding therapy dog agencies from both Pauline and Robert. Since Robert's not here, I'll just see if Pauline has any information for either one of these items.
Okay, so for I do have a scheduled guest for our June program. It is Mike Yosa from Parks and Recreation. He will be joining us
In June.
for our meeting in June.
Okay.
I am waiting for confirmation from Paul Ardenzio, and I'm also giving my therapy dog lady one more chance. I still have not heard back from her, but I'm hoping that between her and I have one more lead. It's actually therapy ponies, to see if we can get something maybe tied in with Mike's visit in June. So we do have June scheduled. Like I said, I'm waiting back. I know Paul has been very, very busy, and especially with everything that's going on a couple of days, and today and tomorrow. So as soon as I have that, I will let you all know.
Thank you, Pauline. I appreciate it. Item number 4 is something that I'm not going to probably have any answers for. The CPAC March, April events. The information was not available at the time of the posting from Robert Brown, and unfortunately, he's not here, and I have not heard from him, so I don't have any CPAC March, April events to let everyone know about. So I'll just skip that one. Item number 5 is the CODA, Commission on Disabilities Alliance monthly Zoom meeting, which happened on Wednesday, March 1st. The 2 announcements were made at that meeting. The Massachusetts Statewide Independent Living Council is having its Independent Living Education Day at the State House and remotely on March 23rd. You can find out more information by visiting their website, which is https://independent-living.education-day-2023/ or call the Independent Living Council at 508-620-7452. Again, their phone number is 508-620-7452. All this information is also posted on the Commission on Disabilities webpage under meeting agenda. I have it already posted there, so you can see that there. Also, the second announcement that was made at that CODA meeting was Up on the Hill committees have been assigned, which means bills and budgets will start getting moving soon. The Disability Policy Consortium's DCP's main focus this season are housing affordability and accessibility, parental rights in DCF cases, wheelchair repair, healthcare, non-discrimination, and communication access at the State House. We, which meaning Disability Policy Consortium, have put together a survey for deaf, blind, deaf disabled, hard of hearing, and late deafened people in Massachusetts. If you want to contribute to any of that advocacy, please contact R. Fryman at DCP directly. Their website is https://www.dpcma.org. DPC and R. Fryman is from the agency that facilitates our monthly CODA calls. So that's two announcements that they made. Also during the meetings, there were two discussions. One of the discussions was regarding filling seats and term lengths for disability commissions in various cities and towns. Most places count the beginning of the term from the person's swearing in date, but it seems like some cities backdated to the particular date, such as January 1st or July 31st. So different, like I said, different cities and towns were just discussing on how they fill their vacancies on their Commission on Disabilities. The second discussion was regarding accommodation at large events for people who are blind or low vision. The general consensus was it's important to put information on how to request accommodations and alternative formats on all event announcements in the minutes, etc. It is the ADA coordinator's job to ensure those notifications are posted and to respond to them, not the Commission on Disabilities. That said, if it's something big like an annual town meeting, it's not a bad idea to have some large print copies of handouts on hand. So that goes part and parcel of what Claudia is trying to do to make things inviting for all people. So it was great that they made that announcement too at that meeting. So that's something that Claudia is working on too for City Hall and departments. So I wanted to just bring that out. So I don't know if anybody has any comments or any questions or thing on that. Mario, I don't know if you have any comments about that accommodations, because you're a person with visual impairments, and you probably have some better aspects in ideas of when you're at large events for what's needed for people with low vision and things of that nature.
Oh, yeah, I mean, depending on the event, if it's anything, obviously, if you're talking about crowded events, maybe understanding, like when they're with a cane, or just being able to get around the area to have whatever accommodations needed, like if it's more lighting, if the event includes, let's say it's like some kind of a workshop, having large print available, having I did mention being lit, and just anything else, just being able to get around, being able to just to have the accommodations, depending on what the event is.
Right.
Accordingly,
Yeah, especially if there's stairs or anything involved.
Yeah, if it's stairs, definitely help. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you. Anyone else have any questions, concerns, or comments on it? Pauline?
No, I was going to say the same thing what Mario just said about, the lighting. We notoriously think of, the large print and making that accessible, but take it a step back and think about the accessibility and navigating. And, just to make sure, I just know that I walked into City Hall, this was a while ago, not recent, but that bottom floor was so dark that, for someone who, my vision is not the best, but I'm not considered visually impaired. But for someone who was, I can see where that would be, quite an issue. So I do think that that's one thing that does sometimes get pushed to the back burner or overlooked, that they're so focused on making sure that the information is accessible, readable, and transferable. But what about the entrances and the exits and navigating throughout? And I think that that's a real important piece.
Perfect. Thank you. Asma, are you all set? Do you have any comments or anything, or?
No, thank you so much, Laura. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So that was all on item number 5. Item number 6 is a place for commission members if they have any late items that we didn't have in time for the agenda. So I'm not sure if you have any late items. I know there was one thing that I neglected to put on updates, next steps, was Pauline was drafting a letter. She has a draft letter that she had given to me. So I didn't know if you wanted to speak on it, Pauline, or anything like that, or we just want to keep it and table it for next month.
I mean, certainly, like I said, it was a draft. I'm not opposed to, especially where, we have some new people that are going to be running for our mayoral election, that are currently on city council. I'm not opposed to them as we hone up on some of the things that I'm not sure of. And one of those things was that $100 fine, that first offense or second or third. Everything I was reading, is that across the board, or is that something that we can negotiate?
What it is,
or is it set at the state level?
No, each city and town is in their ordinances for handicap violation, parking violations. There's a city ordinance. So what we would have to do, that city ordinance would have to be changed. So the council would have to put in a motion to change the parking fee ordinance to go to the parking clerk. Then the other thing that we could do through 21J through the state is we could petition for, I believe it's 21J, that we could ask the council for any handicap parking fees that are collected, if those could come to the Commission on Disabilities to use for programs for people for disabilities, programs and programs and infrastructure.
In any kind of, right.
Yeah,
that's when I was reading what I ended up reading.
Yeah, we would have to.
Right,
we would have to
but
petition the city
what
council.
I was reading, it said it was already in there. So
Yeah.
we would do that. I mean, I'm not opposed to. I think it's a great idea. I think that in view of not having, some of our members here, I think that maybe we should table it and revisit it next month when maybe we have some more. And at that time, start thinking in terms of those of us who are here, thinking of in terms of, first of all, what we think that the fine schedule should be changed to. That's number one. And what kind of things would we be able to go after?
One thing that's come up on the Wednesday monthly meetings from Dakota is basically what a lot of the cities and towns have gotten away from is first, second, and third offenses, changing it because it's very difficult to keep track. So what a couple of the cities and towns is they've just raised their violations to the max for handicap parking violations. They raise it to the max, the statutory max that's allowed under the state statute, which I believe is $300.
I think that's what I read.
Yeah, which is, to me, if you're parking in a handicap spot or sitting in a handicap spot and you don't have a handicap plate or placard, you should get hit in the wallet, because you should not put your place in the place of somebody who is disabled, whether you're in the car or not. If you don't have a handicap plate or placard, do not park in there. Do not park in the laddered spot. A laddered spot is not a VIP spot for you to go park in. A laddered spot is for somebody who is in a wheelchair or a walker, needs the extra space to get into a handicap spot. So I say that, cities and towns are doing it now. People should be fined the max for parking in those spots. So that's what we should probably petition. And a lot of cities and towns are doing that now. And some cities and towns that had first, second, and third offenses were finding that it was very difficult to try and keep that and track that. And so they just everyone is just straight across the board, one specific fine. State statute has a total, a high limit, whatever the max limit is, and that's what they're implementing.
What would happen? I'm just throwing this there because when I was reading it, I was thinking to myself, I would want to be able to track that information. But what would happen if you do have these people who are just repeat offenders? They just don't care.
Well,
You know, what
they'll just keep getting tickets, and if they don't pay the
to
ticket,
find them?
they'll just keep getting multiple fines at the max. Say it's $300. They'll just keep getting it, and if they don't pay the fees, every time you don't pay after 21 days, they escalate. You know, the fees escalate, and they go up. They'll just keep going up, and if you don't pay the fines, you can't reinsure your car. You can't, you can't register your car again. So the fines have to be paid.
That's what ultimately I want to hear.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that maybe we should table it. Everybody start giving some major thought. I think that especially where, we're sitting here in a major nor'easter, we fortunately are getting the rain and the high winds and such, but I think we all need to start thinking that, after March, April, May, and then we're in June and July, and we're going to, unfortunately, see beach parking lots, parking, stop and shop, parking, wherever. And you don't want to project that you're going to see a whole lot more of this going on. But where there are people, where there are limited spots, we all know that things will happen. So I think maybe we'll revisit it next month. Maybe everybody come back with some ideas about,
Right.
what our next step is. And I'm not opposed to going to the city council. Not opposed at all.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so we'll table that and we'll discuss that at the next meeting when all the members are here. Anyone else have any other commission members have any items they wanted to bring up? Okay.
I have one that hooks on to that. Ralph, if I can just interject, I do have it's not a concern. It was more that came through on a Facebook page. There was some talk about handicap parking violations where the Tesla charging stations had been put towards the front of where handicap parking used to be. I'm still waiting on some specifics, putting it out there. If people are seeing that, because we are seeing the Tesla charging stations. I know down at the shop on Furlong, the Tesla stations are down towards Furlong itself, not close to Stop and Shop. But I have some rumblings and some problems that are arising. And what happens in that case? Let's say that I have a handicap parking permit, and that I go to park in one of the I assumed was a handicap spot from years gone by, but they've now changed it up and put Tesla there and moved the handicap spots further away. Who do these people bring that to? Do they bring it to their local disabilities commission? Do they bring it to the police? Who do they bring that to?
Well, if it's the city of Revere, they can bring it to the 311. But actually, they cannot move a handicap spot that's closer to the door and move it further away by law. They cannot replace a handicap spot and move it. It can't go further. If the handicap spot is near the door, they cannot put a charging station or a different spot there and then put the handicap spot further away. That cannot be done. So I haven't seen it be done. I've seen them, they can move it to the next row in the front, but they can't move it back past where the charging station is. It still has to be in the front, in the front row, the handicap spots. So I'd be curious to see where that is, if they have any specifics. But handicap spots are supposed to be the front spots in a parking spot as close to the entrances as possible. You can't have just to say they can't have entrance only spot before a handicap parking spot. handicap parking spot
Mhm.
has to be the first
Okay.
priority spot. A Tesla charging station can't be first, and then the handicap spot can be after. The handicap spot has to be there first.
Okay.
And I
I will
know
keep you-
the city, I know.
I get
this-
information if I see it.
Yeah, I know the city of Cambridge had to, because they moved some handicap spots because of bike lanes and whatnot, they had to replace them to the
Right.
closest proximity allowable to park. So when they took parking spots away, that they had handicap spots because of bike lanes, the next available legal parking spot that was closest to that had to become a handicap spot. So that's in a public street. So take that as a public street. The same thing would have to be done in a parking lot,
Okay.
if that helps.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It does. Thank you.
Anyone else have anything else?
Ralph, just a question for the group. I don't want to take over your meeting. I see, but
No, perfect.
I'm learning and speaking how I can further support. Question now that Pauline mentioned, when things are being built or put in place, so everything that is changing across the city when it comes to developments, for example, do any of you sit on zoning meetings at all? To obviously the city has to make sure that any brand new development, construction, or any alteration, if needed, it's ADA compliant. But I'm just curious, do you sit on any of the large development meetings at all, or how does that work? I'm just trying to get it.
No, we don't, but I received a communication from I forget names right now, but I said anything that has to deal with, that has any impact on people with disabilities, that they should let the Commission on Disabilities know, like the zoning planning and development. They should have input from somebody from the Commission on Disabilities. Anytime that anything goes for a variance through the Architectural Access Board, I'm made aware of it from the Architectural Access Board of the state. I get all that information. A copy comes to me, a copy goes to the building department. So the Commission on Disabilities receives everything that's being developed. If there's any questions or concerns for something that's looking for a variance from the state, from the Architectural Access Board. But because of the capacity, I said basically if something needs to be built, and they know it's going to cause any concerns with people with disabilities, then they can reach out and let us know. Like I'm on the traffic commission. I'm on the traffic commission board because of handicap parking signs. I take the applications for them and funnel all that information to the traffic commission. That's where I go on that one. The bandwidth I have is just so tight, but I try and do what I can when people reach out to me and ask me questions on that.
Got it. Okay. Thank you for answering. Thanks. I just thought it's important to be part of those conversations.
One thing that has to happen too when buildings and development go up, the building department has stipulations that they can't block sidewalks because of ADA violations. So anytime there's a concern that somebody does that, they contact 311, a ticket gets sent to me, and then I have to go to the building department and they have to go see if there's a violation and contact the contractor. That's why there's been in the past, there's been contractors that are leaving equipment on the road or on the sidewalks, and that can't be done because that's a violation.
Thank you.
Yep. One other thing for item number 7, I did receive resident concerns. There's a local gym that has an issue. I'm not gonna, for reasons, I'm not gonna name the gym on here because I'm gonna do a follow-up with the building department. There's a local gym in the city that the handicap accessible bathroom, the lock does not work. And the gym owners keep telling them they're waiting for a locksmith, but I guess this has been going on for a while. So resident contacted me and I said I would follow up with the building department. It's not per se an ADA violation, but it's something that should be, it's one of those sticky situations, but it's a handicap accessible bathroom. So the lock should work. So I'm going to follow up with the building department, and I told them that I would look into it for them. So I just wanted to put that up in during this meeting. But you know, for reasons I don't want to name the gym at the public meeting. Anyone else have anything else that they want to speak about?
It's just I wanted to get any update about the CBAC event for March or like next in
Yeah.
April. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they can just email us like any flyers or notes so we can share it with the community.
Sure. Yeah, I sent Robert another email looking for it.
Yeah.
Pauline, I think I had you on that email to Robert.
Yes, sorry,
Needed
thank you.
a second one. Yeah, and I texted him. Again, so but no response because we need to have that information so that we can let people know that join into our meeting. So yes, if I get it, I will forward it to you, Asma. Thank you. Item number 8 is next steps. Basically, all we have for next steps is calendar items for guest speakers and continuation of the draft letter for handicap violation fees, raising the fees, and possibly petitioning the council of possibly using those fees for Commission on Disabilities programs and infrastructure work. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Item number 9 is our monthly reminder. The Commission on Disabilities office works remotely. Residents can speak to staff from our 311 Constituent Service Center Monday through Friday when you call our office at 781-286-8267. They will be able to answer most questions, but if they are unable to, or if you would like a call back from our department, please ask to be transferred to the Disabilities office's voicemail and someone will get back to you as soon as possible. As always, please let us know if you would like something discussed or brought up and added to our monthly meeting agenda. You can let us know if you would like to speak on an issue or concern. The Commission is here to help and assist all disabled residents and families of Revere. As you've seen tonight, somebody had asked me, they didn't want to come on and ask me about the gym, so I brought that up tonight. So that's where it works when residents have questions or concerns. One other late item that I forgot to mention is I try saying this every other meeting, but I still do get calls from residents. A lot of residents think that cities and towns issue handicap parking placards. Cities and towns do not issue handicap parking placards. I try letting the 311 office know this and put it on their bulletin board. Residents need to contact the RMV, the Registry of Motor Vehicles. They are the only ones that issue handicap parking permits, placards, and there's an application process that they have. So as soon as I do get the call, I do call you back, but I just wanted to let you know they can only be issued through the RMV. No city or town has any jurisdiction or any way of doing that for you. So I just wanted to send out that reminder again. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Mario's making a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Asma seconded. Okay.
Third.
And a third.
Yay.
Claudia, you can give it a fourth if you want.
Here we go.
Next meeting via Zoom will be Tuesday, April 11th at 6 p.m. Thank you, and hopefully the snow will stay away and we'll be okay. And tomorrow the sun will be out. Have a nice night.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.